In today's video, we're going up against the Flexbone offense. Hey, what's going on YouTube? Mr. Football here today. Today, I wanted to start another defensive breakdown series, looking at some different offenses here in kind of this series. We've done the spread offense or the spread option offense, and now we're going to be looking at the Flexbone. Flexbone's been around for a long time, and I feel like there's been a little bit of a resurgence of the Flexbone and people getting interested in the Flexbone. It's actually something that we see. We saw it twice last year and won both games against the Flexbone. So I feel a little bit qualified to say that, this breakdown series, we're going to talk about some of the exact things that we did, schematically that kind of helped us win those two football games. Now, the X's and O's really didn't matter. It all came down to the preparation our kids had, us as coaches, and ultimately our kids getting it done. And we're going to show videos of that later in this series of our kids actually, getting this thing done on the field. And it was awesome. I mean, it was two very close games that we won with this, and one being a nail biter up until the end. But when we got through with this, we were like, man, these two Flexbone teams, I mean, they were almost identical in a lot of the ways that they were going to. And the first game was a big surprise that they actually went to this, because we were expecting a lot of 20 personnel RPOs and stuff, and they came out in Flexbone, totally shocked us when we saw it. In the first time we saw them in seventh grade, we saw them and we were just like, what the crap, they've changed. And so it changed everything in that preparation week. I wanted to first talk about some of basically the base formation that we see with Flexbone. Now, I'm not a Flexbone offense expert. I don't know the ins and outs of what they call formations and so forth, but we're going to use a lot of my defensive terminology to break this stuff down. And I'm sure that Flexbone coaches will come out of the woodwork and say I'm drawing up something wrong, but this is the defensive perspective. So the way that I broke this down, breaking it down by at least formation of what the Flexbone looks like. The thing that I found was that the Flexbone, for the most part, is balanced when they come down. Like this is the formation we saw pretty much, I would say 70% of the time. And I'll give you guys kind of a breakdown of the two teams that we saw. For the most part, I mean, standard, balanced Flexbone, quarterback under center. One of these wingbacks was the main carrier and one was the blocker. All right. That's something that we can usually determine based on this. Receivers both split out, and we've even seen it where they were in tight like this, and we would just call that tight double slot. But I just give it the name double slot because we have, two slots here. I really like if they had a tight end in here, and I'll show you guys how I break the formations down. We'll do a couple formations in here today, and that'll kind of be the gist of this video, kind of getting started. But that's kind of where their pre-snap alignment is. There's a lot of motion that you'll get out of these wing backs. Like if this guy was to come in motion here, usually what you see is a lot of dive option, where they're reading usually a defensive tackle in here. Quarterback's reading, either giving it to the full or pulling, and this guy's, running outside. So those are some of the things that we can kind of see, just and we'll go through base plays. I found some great resources on the Flexbone as far as understanding the offense. Part of me, I like to learn offense. I'm not just a defensive guy, but I enjoy learning about offenses. So that's kind of one of the things that I enjoy. But let's kind of break some of these formations down. We're just going to we'll put all the formations in here first, draw them up, and then kind of go back and look at, their formations together. We'll give you a couple of examples. Like this is a double slot. We'll see this one a lot. and we will just create another formation. So sometimes we would see tight double slot. And so on tight double slot, they would just bring in their X and Y receivers, whatever you want to call them. They would bring them in. Wing backs would stay the same. Slot backs are the same there. Fullback doesn't change. Fullback's in a 3-point stance, about 3 yards away from the quarterback, if not even closer sometimes. So that would be a tight double slot formation. We saw that one a little bit. Another one here. Do another offense or do another breakdown. Another one that I was just kind of in preparation of this video. We did see some oversets where we saw this. So whenever there's a tight end, we change it up a little bit as far as naming formations. We call it pro. Let's see if I've got it in here. So like a pro double slot. Let's see this. We use this. So we'll throw this one in here as well. So the pro double slot, you still have double slots. You still have the two wings in there, and then wherever your X receiver goes, we'll go ahead and throw that one in there. I want to go back to double slot and kind of play around with one we saw earlier that I was just kind of going through. But what I saw was they had their tight end down, and I'll show this on film at a later time. But for this formation, we would essentially call this. To me, this is a trips formation because we've got the tight end, so it's almost a tray formation the same way. So I just kind of break down. Well, first of all, it's a pro formation, and it'll get wonky here in just a second as I go through all this, but it's a pro. It's no longer double slot, so we'll call it. Sometimes I call it pro wing. We call it like pro wing twins because we have a twin set, but we could also call it tray. So sometimes it's just like it's whatever we want to call it, as long as like I can know that like when I hear pro wing twins, I know exactly what they're in. If I would almost call it tray if this guy was split out, but we'll just call it that since they do have a wing and that guy's probably involved at some aspect. So that's kind of those are some of the things we do. So we've drawn up 4 base formations here that we can kind of go off of, and there's more variations than just these. And once we kind of get into our breakdown, you'll see the formations, they're pretty consistent. A lot of times we weren't able. We call it to a tight end strength if there was a tight end, and the strength call matters to me. Basically we want to set that tight end usually means something to us. So those are the 4 basic formations. I mean, for me, Flexbone is pretty simplistic in a lot of ways. It's option football. You think of Navy that come to mind, and Army when they run these type of formations. They're kind of known for the Flexbone, and there's a lot of good resources out there on the Flexbone just based on some of the college stuff. So a lot of guys that run the Flexbone, they're some of the best offenses in America. I mean, they're doing this. I mean, it's just a good thing to see. I mean, it's kind of cool to see it a couple times a year in high school ball. So it's fun. It's not the only time I've coached against it either, but I just wanted to kind of use this time to go through some different offensive styles. In the previous video series we did, it was on the spread option. So that's ended up what I called it after I went down and done the Miami series. We were going up against a spread option. So anyway, another option offense. And so these are the kind of offenses that really intrigue me, to be honest, with the options. So in the next video, we'll kind of break down some of the base plays, talk about, how I learned a lot of this offense and give you guys some of those resources to use. So I hope this video was helpful. Hopefully you guys will stick around for this offensive breakdown series. If you see the Flexbone this year, I'd like to know what you guys what you coaches have done out there to battle against this. Like, how are you running against this? What are your fronts? What kind of coverages are you playing behind this? It's all intriguing to me. So I'm just always looking for more help as well. So anyway, I hope this video helped. If you guys would follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you can find me at Mr. Football Coach. Links are down in the description of the video. You can also join our private Discord page. We have a coaches channel on there where we talk coaching ball. If anybody wants to talk on there anytime, it's always open. And then you can also support the channel on Patreon as well. So that's all I have for this video. We will see you guys in the next one. I'm Mr. Football, and I'm out of here.
Perfect.